Hello, everybody. Karrie Campos here with All Points North Lodge. My name is Karrie Campos, like I said, and I am the Director of Community Relations at All Points North Lodge. Hi, Lori. It's Motivational Monday, and it is my time to come on and bring a guest for. Oh, we got this. Yay, he's joining us. I have David Huff, a sober coach here in Denver that I'd like to introduce to everybody. So he's going to be coming on. There he is. Yes. Hello.
Hi, great.
How are you?
I am doing well today. Thank you very much.
Good, good. So I was just telling everybody we have David Huff on. This is David Huff. You are in Denver, a sober coach, and want to bring you on. I thought that you'd be a perfect fit for our Motivational Monday and start the week off with you. So tell me about what you do, how you got started, all about sober coaching. I have a lot of questions for you.
Okay, great. Yeah, love to. Thank you very much. I started my own journey. First of all, I understand this is recovery from substances, alcohol, marijuana, heroin, as well as behavior, maybe sex, overworking, overspending, overeating. These pattern behaviors and substances which we use as a means of trying to find security, esteem, none of which works, of course, and ultimately makes the situation worse. And so a little over 35 years ago, as my life was falling apart, I've got a great job, I've got a great extended family around me, and it's falling apart because of my own alcohol and drug use. And I got sober, and I connected with a group of people who were on a path that was leading them into a life of recovery. And for years, I have tried to make myself available and worked with other people to help facilitate their recovery. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I made a decision with 28, 29 years of sobriety already, a beautiful life, married, children, great job, that I wanted to take myself to the next level. Physically, emotionally, still had a few quirks, gained a little bit of weight, and had some quirks emotionally, still had a tendency to react with anger when things didn't go my way, to be over controlling. And I began to listen to podcasts about the scientific evidence of moving yourself to a higher level of performance. And my life began to change once again. And I was so excited that I decided to get trained as a coach. This particular program was called Human Potential Development Coaching.
Saw that on your bio. Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. And it was about how do we move ourselves ahead at the level of body, mind, spirit, power, energy, whatever that means for you. And fascinating. Most of it based on scientific studies about brain, about gut, about human performance. And the more I was trained, the more I was able to effectively use these action steps, these methods, to continue to evolve, I guess. And what really came to me was I began to coach people, and they would come, they want to lose 20 pounds. They would come and they had a relationship that they weren't sure how to deal with, or all these things that look like the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it became clear to me that the more we talked, the real problem was much deeper than I've got a few pounds that I need to lose, or I want a consistent workout program or something like that.
Sure.
That the next level is actually something deeper. The good news for me is it's also innate, that power that we've been seeking is within us. And the work then becomes getting rid of the obstacles. And it may look like losing 20 pounds, or it may look like, how do I get along with my wife better? And it occurred to me, this is the thing I've been working on for 30 years at that time, 35 years now. And where I can be most effective as a coach is with people with substance abuse and behavior patterns that don't make sense, which are destroying their lives, but are the go-to attempt to solve these problems.
Right.
So that brought me here. David Huff, recovery coach.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. And I like the layers that you kind of described, and how there's, all the challenges of life, things we go through, right? And then there's the solution, right? That is the solution, whatever is something that is the addiction, or, the temporary fix emotionally, right? That you're trying to, if you're in pain in any form, that's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to not feel pain and be heard.
Mm.
And those old wounds need attention, and finding a healthier way is the way to do it, right? And going back to like motivation, right? Like, it's like going to the gym or making those good healthy choices with food and relationships. It's hard, right? And I think that, like, just like we have workout coaches, I mean, sober coaches for recovery of life and emotion is like essentially the same thing. Having someone to check in with, accountability, and walking someone so they're not alone, because we you and I have talked about this before. It's just that human connection. It's just so important, and to not isolate, do it, show up not only for yourself, but I've always been very motivated to like show up for someone else too. And whatever, and just looking at different, perspectives, and, with your kind of level of, years of recovery. So what did it take? Like, what is it? First of all, what did you have to do to become a recovery coach? And then also, what does a recovery coach essentially provide?
Okay, right. Well, the first thing I did was got into the coaching mode with this certified human potential. Then, as a result of that, I also took a certification with National Coach Federation. It's the largest group of certified coaches in the world, and that began to help to give me a skill set, give me a method of how we work with people, primarily based on helping people to, what is it that motivates you? What are your core values? And what are the action steps we can take to move you from where you are to where you'd like to be?
Right.
When I realized that this work is most important and the most significant contribution from my perspective was in the field of recovery, I took what's called CCAR, Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery, has a Recovery Coach Academy. And I took one of their academies and got certified as recovery coach.
How long did that take?
That was, I believe it was 30-something hours, but it was done the entire week. So it was 30-hour certification as recovery coach, CCAR certified recovery coach. The method that I found to be most effective and that suits me the best is to first of all, start off with you're coming to me in the first place because you realize your life isn't what you want it to be. My clients have bit the bullet already. They've seen there's a disconnect. This thing that I relied on for so many years isn't working. I want a new way of life, not survival, but actually beginning to thrive in my own life. The good news for me is that I believe those answers are within. I believe that access to the power, which really changes, is within. And so it begins a matter of how do we set concrete goals that align with your value. They say values, your core values. It's said that that's true authenticity when my values match my actions. And the good news of that is if I know what my values are, let's say it's love and kindness to everybody. That's one of my significant core values. And if I will take actions aligned with that core value, I'm automatically successful because my actions match my values, but I'm also tapping into my authentic self and then actions are much easier to follow. Do we still need accountability?
Sure.
Yeah. Do we still need help maybe inform? Maybe some of these concepts are new. And so can we gain access to our own innate understanding, desires to change ourselves, to live that most fulfilled life with the help of someone else to co-create an action plan that begins to move us there, often in baby steps first, with the belief that success breeds success. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think that everything you're saying, if it'll come natural, and if it's coming from your heart and it's heart-centered and authentic, like you're saying, and just someone there to hold accountability, kind of question and check in. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to be more aligned, to your internal self and making those right decisions and getting through the day-to-day hardships of life. So that makes a lot of sense. And then part of that too, you've always been really involved with a daily meditation. Tell me more about that too.
Yeah, for me, certainly, yes. For a little over 32 years, I was trained in a form of mantra-based meditation, and I took to it. I was sober about 3 years at that time, and I've practiced every day to the best of my knowledge. I believe this true statement for over 32 years. The greatest benefit for me, and then I also teach others meditation now. The greatest benefit for me of meditation is when I realized I am not my thoughts. And I have to say that there was a time before I had some real practice under my belt that statement did not make sense to me. I just believed that if I thought it, of course it was me. But as we become aware of without engaging in the thoughts, we begin to see that there's separation, that I am not my thoughts. Just because I thought it doesn't mean it's true. Just because I thought it doesn't mean I have to do something about it. Just because I thought it doesn't mean I have to believe that it's me. It does not define me. There's something much deeper. And so that's number one, was the benefit. And when I begin to take that, as they say, off the cushion or off the chair of meditation where practice is, and begin to see that show up in my daily life. I know I'm successful because others may notice the change in me, my reaction to things, even before I do. And so that has become such a huge part, and I certainly offer that to anybody I coach also as the thing that kind of rockets us into that next level is when we can actually begin to change the thinking.
Right. I've learned a little bit about meditation, and that kind of aligns with the thoughts when you're meditating. They'll come into your mind and be kind and say, okay, hi thought, and then, kind of move it out. And is that kind of part of the practice too? Also acknowledging it, being kind to that thought, and then just pushing it away. Isn't there something more about that too when we're meditating in our thoughts?
Beautiful. Yeah, that was a great description. I like a phrase that I've heard a lot around the meditation community that I hang around with, which is when we find ourselves engaged in thought, we return ever so gently to our sacred word, our mantra, watching our breath, counting our breath, whatever the home base, the tech is that we're using. But we do that, we make a move. I realize, thinking, I'm engaged in thought. I was trying to meditate, and I realize it. I let the thought go without judgment, without condemning myself, and without effort eventually, and just return to my breath as I breathe.
Yeah. And I think the more that we do that in meditation, it's also going to kind of build that muscle and that practice, like just day to day, even if when we're not in meditation, to be kind to our thoughts and just not attached to it. Yeah. So that's super helpful. I think having that daily meditation and exercising, being kind to our thoughts and moving on from them will also relate to our reaction to them just day to day throughout our, daily busy life.
I like that. It's like taking the brain to the gym. We're exercising that muscle. We get better at it the more we do it. We practice that when we're out in the world. And I realize I'm engaged in thought, and I can let it go and return to that stillness within.
Amazing. And then how does someone get a hold of you for sober coaching?
Oh, thank you for asking. I have a website. It is David Huff recoverycoach.com. Last name Huff, all one word, David Huff recoverycoach.com. There's contact information there. There's a description of what I do. And please visit my website and shoot me an email.
Perfect. Well, I mean, this all aligns really nicely. I'm glad we connected today because I think, starting our week off with meditation, checking in with, others to hold ourselves accountable. If someone is, I work for All Points North Lodge, and, I'm seeing clients and they're getting ready to discharge and leave their program and their treatment center. And All Points North Lodge definitely has that, where we're like, okay, the aftercare, good care, what's next? And sober coaching, meditation, learning all the meditation that they've learned, yoga, breath work, that all those skills will only be kind of enhanced and guaranteed a sober coach coming out. So that's kind of like a really big recommendation for, coming out of treatment, connecting, what is your plan? And I think that, sober coach and what you do is amazing because it's to check in with someone. So how often would you, let's say you had a client, how often do you talk to them, see them? What does the day look like? What do you kind of, do you journal? Like, tell me more about a day in the life of the client and the sober coach.
So the process is the people I meet, they are about 1 hour sessions.
Okay.
They may run longer than that. Initially, probably once a week for maybe 5 to 10 sessions. And then maybe once every other week or even once a month, just to kind of check in. If there's something new that you want to work on, is there a way to here to there, something we haven't discussed before? I'm getting tremendous results. Are you following through on this stuff? And so that would start it. The session itself usually with, what would you like to work on today? What's up for you? We spend a little bit of time talking about the concern, the problem, the where we want to go. What would we like to be different?
Yeah.
We don't usually dive into the past because this is about present tense and moving forward. And so most of that work's done in another venue or maybe at treatment. It started, maybe some kind of aftercare with a therapist. But what we work on is what's up for you now and how do we move us to where you want to be. Yeah. That's about an hour session, and probably a good third to half revolves around how do we set goals that'll move you from where you are? How do we build in accountability? How do we know that these are the goals that have meaning for you? I use a method, it's called SMART goals, which is just specific. It's material, it is actionable, it's relevant, it's timely. So we put a timeline on it. It's very specific. You do this. It's relevant. That ties back into our core values. Why do you even care about this change? And so that's what the session may look like. And probably the very last thing, we may do a breathing exercise. We may spend even a few minutes in quiet just to get centered, just to get present.
That's great.
The very last of it is how do we build in some accountability? How do we know that you followed through on this, and what can you do in the next 4 hours?
Right. Amazing. Wonderful. So okay. So once again, thank you so much, David. Appreciate your time. What is it? Okay. So how do people get a hold of you again?
David Huff, recoverycoach.com. And if you're interested in finding out more, go to the website. And I do have, if you'll click a button there or contact me, free 30-minute session right now. And that will give you a sense of what I have to offer, and we'll take it from there.
That's great.
Thank you.
And you can always reach out to me, Karrie Campos at All Points North Lodge, and we'll connect you with any kind of resource you need. So really appreciate your time, David. I've always so enjoyed talking to you, and you definitely motivated me to meditate. That's like the biggest thing I really want to start my day with, is meditating. So appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Karrie. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.